Marlatt. Rod began as the director of the Fayette County Conservation Board in 1985 and founded the Fayette County Pheasants Forever in the same year. And this served as a catalyst for Iowa's wildlife habitat program. Rod began building an award-winning environmental education program in 1986, which led to the development and construction of the Gilbertson Conservation Education Area in Elgin. In 1989, Rod established one of the first and largest roadside management programs in the state of Iowa. Rod has implemented countless other programs and projects that benefited Fayette County, including the development of the River Bluff Scenic Byway, designation of the Turkey River Recreation Corridor, and the establishment of the Fayette County Recycling Program. So specifically tonight, with all that Rod does for our county, we've invited him to come tonight, and we came up with the title of Talking Trash. So Rod's involvement in the Fayette County Recycling Program is going to be the major focus of what we're here to talk about tonight. So please join me in welcoming Rod.
Well, talk a little trash here. Well, yeah, I usually don't read off a piece of paper, but I don't want to forget anything. So, good evening. I'd like to thank you for having me talk with you tonight about Fayette County's recycling program. I say your program because it's your participation and success that has made it successful for us in the county. We may not have the oldest recycling program in Iowa, but I bet it's close. We may not have the best recycling program in the state of Iowa, the United States, but I bet it's close. Well, I would bet, however, that we're the only recycling program that has its own theme song. Composed and performed by the king of recycling himself, the GOAT, Mike the Milk Jug. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, I'm Mike Milk Jug, and I could use a big hug, so please don't throw me away. That would be frightening. So take me to recycling, so I can be useful someday. Maybe when we're all done with this, we can do that song together. So my goal for the night is for that song to be stuck in your head. You cannot sleep, cannot get it out of your head, because it was in my head for over 20 years before animation was able to take it out. But I didn't come here to bore you with history or statistics, but hey, I will anyway. So, a little history. Recycling goes back decades. And it was first in prominence in the Second World War, as the country needed metal and all forms of equipment and ammunition for the war effort. Probably learned that in school. Hope not all of you remember that. But after the war, recycling kind of went into hibernation. In the 1980s, though, concern over water quality became a huge issue and still is today. As a result of that, the Iowa legislature and the governor enacted the Groundwater Protection Act of 1987. And part of that legislation was waste reduction and recycling. It's Iowa Code 455D, if you really want some reading. This required the planning commission, such as our Fayette County Solid Waste Commission, required them to reduce waste tonnage placed in landfill by 25% in the year 1994. Remember, this was enacted in '87. And the other goal was 50% for the year 2000. A lofty and pressurized goal for sure. And at that time, we had no idea what we were doing. I was working with the board of supervisors, said, I don't know, let's buy one of them baler dealing botters. And didn't know what they were going to do with it. And we asked some questions, and they came to the conservation board at that time with the Solid Waste Commission and say, what do you got in your head? And we decided to start a recycling program. That legislation now, unfortunately, has been altered a little bit. It's no longer a required goal. It's a required to have, it's just a goal. And I think that's because a lot of counties couldn't make it. But we did, but you pay a solid waste fee to the DNR if you don't reach those goals. So instead of saying you have to do it, you they incentivize it that you don't have to pay so much. Anyways, we've made it. So you know, I say poo-poo and the rest of those guys. Anyways, so we were facing the mandated reductions put forth the 87 law, and we pondered how to do so. In the meantime, Fayette County Conservation Board in 1989 and 1990 had the vision to start educating our students about recycling through milk jugs. So we set up collection stations at all our schools. Maybe some of you remember those days, and really got to the parents and the kids. Always wanted to do that. And they were bringing milk jugs to school, and man, did they ever. We didn't know what we were going to do. We trucked the jugs to a couple barns at the county farm, and we filled them clear to the top until we got a baler. And, so then in 1990 and 91, the Fayette County Solid Waste Commission, through the partnership of the Conservation Board, we refurbished a storage building at the county farm and installed a sorting line and a baler, which was all funded by grants, to process materials hauled to the county, the facility through a countywide roll-off bin system, which you still have today, drop system. That facility was expanded again, and a larger addition was put on the facility in 1994. Here's what we're probably most proud of, and I'm glad to see your Mayor Kelly here. He's also the chair of the Solid Waste Commission, and we've been through some times together with solid waste. A lot of people think you just roll your garbage out to the curb and it goes away. I can assure you it's not that simple. But anyways, what we're most proud of is recycling. That whole system is funded by a per capita fee of $1 per month per person. That fee has not changed since its inception. So for 32 years, you're still only paying $1 per person per capita for your recycling program. And so that with some sales of material funds that program. But our Fayette County waste reduction exceeds 66.36%. Remember, 50% goal. So that annually is recycled 4,396 tons a year. That's a lot. So we're pretty proud of that. You should be proud of yourselves as citizens to reach those goals. The recyclables we taken 1 through 5 plastics, newsprint, which includes magazines, white paper, etc., steel and tin cans, and cardboard, which includes corrugated and pressed board. It's also banned in the landfill, so if we catch you with cardboard, it gets to stay on the curb. So that's that. But we've just upgraded our education program. Like I said, we were going through the children, going through the schools, got kind of boring. You know, you go in there, so we take numbers 1 through 5, blah, 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 blah. And nobody's paying attention, their eyes roll in the back of their head. So we wanted to do something different that's never been done before. So we created in the last year a series of animated cartoons, which is kind of geared towards maybe 2nd through 5th grade, but y'all are kids at heart, so you're going to enjoy this. The animation was just awarded the 2022 Outstanding Interpretive Non-Print Media Award by the Iowa Conservation Education Coalition. Just got this last week, but this is, in conservation education, this is like a Grammy or an Oscar. So I'm pretty proud of that. So with that, the boring stuff, I'm going to show you a series of cartoons and animation, and listen to the first song, because you all need to sing it before we leave here. We're on tape. All right. Well, I'm Mike the Milk Jug, and I could use a big hug, so please don't throw me away. That would be frightening, so take me to recycling so I can be useful someday. Hi, I'm Mike the Milk Jug, and I'd like you to follow me on a great adventure. When I was just a young oil drop, I always dreamed of growing up and becoming a park bench. It all started millions of years ago, when the earth was covered by oceans. These oceans were filled with plants and animals that over the ages lived and died and eventually became oil. About 200 years ago, it was discovered that oil was very useful to make plastics. So I and millions of my friends were drilled from the earth and sent to a plastic factory. I felt lucky to be sent to a factory to be made into a jug and filled with milk, so I became Mike the Milk Jug. I was then sent to a grocery store where a very nice family took me home. And after joining them for several meals, I was all emptied out and put into a truck to be hauled away to the recycling center. On the way, however, I fell out of the truck, and I was so worried that I was just littered and no one would love me anymore. But a very nice person found me, saved me, and got me to the recycling center. There I was transformed from a milk jug to a plastic board. And then my dreams had come true and I became a park bench. I am so excited and happy to provide a seat for all to enjoy in a beautiful park. Well, I'm Mike the Milk Jug and I could use a big hug, so please don't throw me away. That would be frightening, so take me to recycling, so I can be useful someday. I'm Chester the cardboard kid. I've got 4 sides and a lid. I've held toys and berries. My uses are varied, so please don't let me be buried. Hi, I'm Chester the cardboard kid. Oh! And I'd like to tell you the story of my life. It all started when my great-great-granddaddy was one of the very first cardboard boxes. No, not the cow. No, not the horse. My granddaddy. He was made from the wood of trees from the mighty pine forests. These trees were cut down and sent to a mill, where they were ground into pulp, made into cardboard sheets. Cardboard then got sent to another factory, made into boxes. My granddaddy was proud to have become a box that held toys to be sent to kids for Christmas. Luckily, as time went by, some really smart people discovered that you could recycle those cardboard boxes over and over again and reduce the amount of trees and forests to be harvested for cardboard and could be used for other things. In fact, we can be recycled into new boxes 5 to 7 times. So my family is proud to say that we have always been a cardboard box family and have never just been thrown away. I'm on a truck right now, carrying a shipment of kitten toys to a very nice family. After I get done with the shipment, I am dreaming of getting reused as a toy box. When I get too worn out, I'm sure I'll get sent to a recycling center to be made into new boxes and get new adventures. So remember, reduce, reuse, and recycle. I'm Chester the cardboard kid. I've got 4 sides and a lid. I've held toys and berries. My uses are varied. So please don't let me be buried.
Tammy, tin can, Tammy, tin can. Tammy, the tin can has a big plan. Tammy, tin can, Tammy, tin can. Tammy, you can be a tin can again. Hi, I'm Tammy, the tin can. Can I tell you a secret? Oh my gosh, I'm really not made of tin. In fact, tin is a very rare metal and hasn't really been used to make cans in like 100 years. So, like, all my friends and I are made out of other metals like steel, iron, and aluminum. These metals are found deep underground in
Thank you, Marlatt.
And I'm singing a song to say, I'll make you smile throughout the day, but please don't throw me away, so you can read me another day. Extra, extra, read all about it. I've got some good news today. Hey guys, Nellie the newspaper here, reading you all the good news about recycling. I'm talking about recycling newspaper, like me and all the good things I could get made into. But first, let's take a trip back in time to the 1800s. A newspaper can't be a newspaper until it has a clean paper to be printed on. That clean paper is called newsprint. The first newsprint paper was made from the pulpwood of pine trees. These trees were harvested from the forests and sent to a paper mill to be pulverized and ground into wood fibers called pulp, just like my cousin Chester the cardboard kid. Except these trees were made into newsprint. Newsprint was made this way for a very long time and took a lot of trees to make many millions of newspapers. Eventually, though, it was discovered that these newspapers could be 100% recycled and could be made into not only new newspapers, but many other paper products. This is the fun part. Us newspapers have a lot to look forward to. We could become printer and copier paper and be very important documents or diplomas. We could become a fun magazine or even a greeting card. Hey, I like that. Maybe I could become my own birthday card. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Help me save a tree and recycle me. Good, right? And I'm singing a song to say, I'll make you smile throughout the day, but please don't throw me away, so you can read me another day.
We got the recycling blues. Let's let the people choose. Do we get to stay or just get thrown away? So I'm asking you, don't be a fool. Just be cool and in these recycling blues. Hi, all you recycling people. I'm Rodney the Roll-Off Box, and I think I have the greatest job in the whole world. You see, I'm here to receive and gather all of my recyclable friends and take them to the recycling center. I've been feeling pretty good lately because everyone is bringing me all their great recyclable friends to my doors, which is wonderful because sometimes I get filled up with trash, and that gives me a... I'd like to tell you about a regular day in the life of a roll-off box. You see, I'm made of many compartments that folks can sort their recyclables into. I have doors for cardboard, tin cans, plastics, and newspaper. After I'm all filled up, a truck comes along and gives me a ride to the recycling center. There I am carefully unloaded and sorted into my special areas in the center. Most of my recyclable friends are then baled into huge squares, along with others like them, by a giant baling machine. They are then taken by trucks to other factories who make them into new products and begin new adventures. I then get taken back to the towns to get refilled the next day with recyclables. Most of the time, I get taken to a town close to a park, where I can visit with my friend, Mike the Milk Jug Bench. But right now, I'm wondering what some of my recyclable friends are doing. Oh, hey guys, look, the family brought us to rest with my Uncle Mike, the Milk Jug Park Bench.
Hello there, Mike.
Hi, Mike. Gee, I sure hope I get made into something cool like you. I hope you do too. I love my life as a park bench. I get to meet so many nice people, and lots of times they set my young recyclable friends down on my bench before Rodney the roll-off box takes them to the recycling center. Well, here comes the family to take you to Rodney. Bye!
Oh, hey, Rodney.
Woohoo!
Here we come.
Here I go. I hope I become a park bench just like my Uncle Mike.
OMG, I want to be a tin can again. I want to become my very own birthday card.
Just make me a box. Here we go, to make your dreams all come true. I don't think I'll have the recycling blues today. I don't have the recycling blues. I let people choose. They got to stay and didn't get thrown away. So don't be a fool and just stay cool and in these recycling blues. And there you have it. So Tammy the Tin Can and Nellie is sitting right there. But I wrote all the OMGs from
Yeah,
Valley
I would
Girl
like to
stuff.
state, Rod wrote all of those words exactly how they were spoken, with all the likes and like everything.
That's what happens at 2 in the morning when you have a deranged mind. So, yeah, you want to pass those sheets. Just some statistics from last year, which is boring, but it's kind of cool. You can keep those, but recycling statistics for Fayette County in '22, we did 542.69 tons that were processed at the recycling center. And then we had 3,750 tons rounded off that are shipped directly from businesses. We work with businesses and cardboard primarily. So grocery stores, things like that, put in their own balers and they can go directly to market, which is wonderful. We don't have to handle that. Believe it or not, we did 14.72 tons of electronics and televisions. So that's a big deal. We have to charge you for that because we get charged for that as well. 9.5 tons of tires, and probably 5 tons of that was water in the tires. 78.86 tons of metal and appliances, that's basically your white goods. 870 gallons of used oil, we do take that to landfill, and again, our reduction last year was 66.36%, so give yourselves a round of applause, because you did that. But anyways, we'll go back to the children again, try not to bore them. This is kind of a new twist on an old idea. If you remember, when I was a kid, you seen the cartoons, I'm only a bill, so I'm doing all something, so that's where the idea came from, to do that, so. Anyways, glad you had me. You have any questions specific to materials or recycling? I'll try.
Any chance of being able to recycle glass
I
again?
would have said it would take 10 seconds for that question to get asked. Probably not. Which is too bad, because in our education program, when we started, we encouraged kids to buy things in glass because physiologically, it's 100% recyclable. Problem is, it's just not profitable to do so. There are very few plants left in the United States that actually take glass. We actually took glass longer than most recycling centers because when we still ran a landfill, which we don't anymore, we have a transfer station. Every day the dump of the cell had to be lined with sand, so we were actually crushing glass and using that as a sand product. So we were not telling anybody that, but we were taking it until we didn't have a landfill anymore. So We used to, and it was highly, very high labor. The percentage of contamination between the three colors is less than 1%, between green, brown, and clear. So it was very, very intense labor-wise, but it isn't that there isn't places that probably would take it, it just is not. At some point, it's an economic thing. Sucks.
Waverly will take it.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're doing.
I don't either.
They might be landfilling it as far as
Yeah,
I don't know
but
that.
they will take it.
But, you know, we're not gonna deal with something that we don't have a labor force to do or no place to take it regionally, so. But I knew that question would be asked, thanks for asking it, so. Yeah,
I'm really impressed that there's the 66%.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere in the county where you do curbside recycling?
Old Lane has it as an option.
Everywhere we've lived, we've always had that option. And so it's impressive to me that people have to take another step and go to the drop box and still are willing to do that.
In all honesty, a lot of counties and cities that did that have now no longer are doing it.
Okay. It just wasn't costed.
It isn't, and processing is a real problem because it goes commingled, and we get it all on our floor, so, okay, sort this out. But also, the biggest complaints I hear about curbside is you're given this little bitty tub, and it's all gotta fit on there.
Yeah.
And so, I don't see us doing that as a rural county. I did do it as an option, however, they do charge those citizens an additional fee for that, because they still owe the $1 per person, so we just went through quite a process with Owen and maintaining those roll-off boxes. But trash is a problem. I mean, in fact, the education again, I'm sure you've seen it in your roll-off boxes, but, you know, it's something that has to be dealt with. So, but for the most part. But milk jugs and corrugated cardboard are king, as far as markets go. So beyond our $1 per capita assessment, then we also sell the material after we bale it. And cardboard is right now, I think she told me $30 a ton, and I've seen it over 400. And it follows the world markets pretty closely. It's kind of fun, wheeling and dealing in trash. But milk jugs are king as far as plastics go. That's high density polyethylene, number 2 plastics. And there's always a market for that. Frankly, we take number 1 is there's a more good market for that's like your teas and your clears and your number 2 and number 2 colored is your milk jugs are not. I'm sorry, your detergent bottles and things like that. So good markets. 3 through 5 basically is nobody wants it. They will take it, but it's just like mixing in corn, I guess.
What's an example of that?
3 through 5s, oh, I don't know, butter containers sometimes, things like that.
Is the number included with on every one?
Yeah,
So-
you'll see the recycling fee plus the number.
So would you still encourage us to put all plastic in that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, except for styrofoam, which is number 6.
Oh,
And we get plenty of that as it is, but that is indeed not recyclable.
is that a manual task to sort, or do you have?
Yep. Love to have, we'll give you a field trip anytime you want. You've got a wonderful facility out there. Laser driven balers, it's pretty cool. But it has to be all hand sorted. On a sort line.
So you mentioned when you started and you bought a baler and weren't quite sure how it was gonna work. Are the balers all the same, depending on, or are they different for each product?
Well, the baler we started with was just a horizontal, was a vertical baler. You had to literally throw them in by hand. And that wasn't fun. But now we have a inline baler. It's got an in-ground conveyor on it. We just push the stuff in. We sort it out into different compartments in the building, and then it gets pushed into the end down. And then, so the baler does everything.
Okay.
And we're doing some repairs on that right now. And very, very expensive machine. Yeah,
What about aerosol cans?
they're tin. That's fine. Yep.
Don't have to drain them and
Well, after you use them up, it's not much fun when you're squishing your paints. No, anything tin is fine. Paint cans, latex things, no. There's a way to handle that. They have to be drained on newspaper and dried, and you guys know the whole game. We also do have household hazardous waste day every year, which is getting less and less material depending on who's cleaning out what, I guess. But that's good. That was the whole purpose of that program, is to clean out people's houses and stuff. We still got a lot of farms that want to drop off stuff that is not household hazardous.
Well, the system's working in Maynard, because we were there at 2 o'clock this afternoon and the bins
Full.
were all full.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was down there today too.
Yeah. Good problem to
Good
have.
problem. Yeah.
I don't know how many boxes we had, Kelly, like 40 some, I suppose.
The,
Boxes we had in the county, maybe 40.
probably, yeah. 40 Rodneys.
40 right in the well, you have to take some poetic license. Do not call me that. You're a man big enough, I want you to call me Rodney, but I can make fun of myself. But anyways,
What about, how clean do things need to be? Like, some people completely, wash a peanut butter jar, and some people.
wonderful.
Is the better, you prefer it to be, but you'll take anything.
Sure. I mean, it's just like everything else. As years go by, people get less concerned. I try not to use the word lazy here. Less concerned about it. I mean, it'll go. But the cleaner, the better, obviously. I mean, you've got a building full of stuff that you have to food, things like that. But, one of the probably biggest challenges we've had since we started in 91 or whatever is that, it was placed, the county had that building at the county farm. At that time, Prairie View was well populated with county residents. And so that was one of the reasons. So that was our sorting labor pool, was those folks. Although Wolf Graham was from here and things like that worked for us. And it was great. It was absolutely great. And we said, all the things you've done over your career, Rob, what is your greatest satisfaction? And every one of those original guys eventually got out of Prairie View and went to the apartment complex. We maintained their employment, so, that makes you feel pretty good. And that gave them a purpose. However, we have lots of other options for folks outside of the county home, and a lot of the residents are there, not Fayette County residents, or they're there from other programs, let's just say. So I don't think we employ anybody out there anymore. So that changes your sort line. And it changes, we used to sort off all 6 numbers. And now we only sort 1s, 2s, and everything else. That's fine, markets will take them that way. But, so that was a change, but you roll with the punches. Yeah.
So where are these markets that you're talking about? Who buys it? Where does it go?
Most of the cardboard goes to China eventually. And they ship them back in new boxes that we buy. Not to get into that whole deal. Yeah, probably. Milk jugs, all over the place. There's been some markets in Florida. The problem with plastic food containers it's not that they cannot physiologically be made back into food containers. It's they cannot be made back into food containers because of FDA regulations. They've already held food once, so when your milk jug is turning into a park bench, milk jug is turning into a boat pier on the ocean, things like that. You see a lot of your bumpers at Wally World, places like that where your parking things are. So it has to be made into an alternative product. Fortunately, the world needs just about so many park benches and picnic tables. But maybe if you look in your park early on, we took some of our actual milk jugs and we paid a company to make picnic tables that we spread around all through the towns with Fayette County milk jugs, just to help promote the program. They're great if you still got one in your city park. Maintenance guys don't like them because it takes 4 mules to move them. So anyways, it's been a great thing for our county. Yeah, that's a big number, 66%. Great. That was based on the amount of tonnage that was put in the landfill in 1987, which was far exceeded 20,000 a ton.
Well, and our population hasn't increased. I mean, it would be a comparable
It
population.
is. It's stayed reasonably sad. I mean, we've lost some, obviously, but for the most part, Fayette County stayed okay. But, keys to your kids. I had a lot of parents early on say, don't you ever tell my kids that. I mean, we started out, it's like, you threw that milk jug away. Well, you know, for God's sakes, don't throw Mike away. He's got personality. So that's what you try to do is ingrain some personalization into it. I could talk trash all night long.
What about black plastic? I've heard that, I've got some bowls that,
If it's got a number on it, yeah. And
okay.
it might if it's within the last 30 years. That's okay. And sometimes there's some spot markets. We used to take polystyrene. So Emeco had a plant in Owing when we first started, if you'll remember that. And part of what they had to do for whatever government grants they had or whatever, I don't remember. They actually paid us to take that. And we would drive 2 or 3 loads with our big flatbed fifth wheel trailer to Chicago to a plant. It was a sketchy place. Me and Steggy used to make that trip all the time. They made them into coat hangers. So, but when that company left and there wasn't any, you know, they had to do that. So, get into those things and you know, we could tell all kinds of stories. Had a whole semi-load of whiskey bottles tipped over Interstate 80 once, and while we were still doing glass, we crushed whiskey bottles till the next morning. And we were paid by Jack Daniels to crush those bottles because they had lids on them. But that was interesting because the bottles came from one state, the whiskey came from a dry state, and the lids came from Washington State. So, anyways, I was all excited I was going to get this whole flask. No lids on it. Story of my life. But we made bank that night because Jack Daniels paid us to crush. Lots of stories that way. So. Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Plastic bags,
Yeah, sure.
Walmart?
There is a market for them. To make a ton bale of plastic bag, we'd have to have like 4 buildings to store them. We used to do that. Yeah, again, just because it's got that little symbol on it doesn't necessarily mean there's any place to go. Therein lies the problem. So.
What do the grocery stores do with them? They've got those containers and they put your plastic.
I don't know, they don't seem to give us an answer to what they do with them. I think it's a feel-good thing. Yeah, technically it's film plastic and it is recyclable. We're all recyclable too, if anybody wants to use it.
I was
Sure.
wondering also about, are you involved at all with deposits on cans and bottles? Is that's completely separate?
We're not. We get plenty of them, amazingly. We just try to pull them off when we see them.
So you would, instead of recycling those, you give them back, get the
Take them,
5 cents back?
yeah. But hopefully all our towns keep our little cages for fireworks and everything else, because I'd rather be beat to death with a frozen rubber hose than take stuff to a recycling. Yeah.
What about pizza boxes? Pizza boxes.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yep.
Even the greasy parts.
Yeah, well, I just assumed pizza wasn't there. Most of it's I guess we used to have some guys look that stuff over pretty close. Yeah, I mean, anything that's overly filthy or oily. Because really, if you put cardboard in your trash, your normal trash, your hauler is not supposed to drink that. Because we don't take it. Sometimes I think that guy's eyesight's not so good. Yeah.
Are you aware of recycling in Delaware County?
Not really.
I have looked all over it, haven't been.
Well, it is, and here's what we have to remember, and I think Kelly would agree with me, we get new members all the time, so like, what are we doing? I mean, cardboard's $30 a ton. Is it costing us more than $30 a ton to collect, haul, and process that cardboard right now? Absolutely. But what isn't happening? It's not going into a hole. So you have a transfer station now. So the transfer station, we actually pay Blackhawk County, who does about 7 counties. That hole's half size of my house. We pay them a fee, a tipping fee to take our stuff to them. So everything that gets recycled, the savings is not necessarily, or the money made is not what we're selling it for, it's what we're not paying for, that isn't going into the landfill. So a lot of counties, they're just like, oh, there's no money to be made. And right now, that's probably true. In regards to, if you're gonna be one of those people saying it costs this much to produce it, process it, but we're only selling it for this much, well, that, you would probably pull the plug. But when you're not paying for 4,000 some odd tons, then what is the rate? Do you know what the rate is, Kelly? Help me out here. What are we paying? 40 something a ton?
It went up, so
Yeah.
I think it's closer to 50 now.
So there you go. Do the math. $200,000 that we're not paying. Plus, you're not filling a hole that frankly, with the way, the last time we built a cell at the landfill, which we had the space to do, it lasted less than 5 years and we had over $1 million in that. Then the DNR regulates and the liner underneath it, basically you're taking the liner and you're sewing it up. If you think that stuff ever rots, you would be incorrect. The whole point of landfill is that it doesn't, because then it creates leachate, and then we have to take the leachate off, then we all add to it. So it goes, it's a vicious circle, so that's why we pulled the pin on that. Our transfer station at that time cost us about $1 million. But we're not building cells anymore. It's a great deal for Blackhawk County. But yeah, $30 a ton. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you we're making anything on that, but we are, because we're not sending 4,000 tons to it. Yeah.
All these other materials you've got listed here, is there a charge for all of them, like used oil?
There is charge. I don't think we're charging for used oil. Don't hold me to that. The metal appliances, we're charging you what we get charged by the company that can, of course, get the deal for free on some of those things. There was all of that. The tires, we're charging you what we get charged, and electronics. Electronics, tires, and then the appliances. Now, if you bring metal, it's fine. Stuff it in there. We don't charge you for metal. In a good year, we come out of that pretty good.
Yeah.
Y'all know that gig. It's either good or it's
Bring all the copper wire we can.
not. Yeah. I got it. So back in the early 90s, cardboard went to $400 a ton. And had a guy running around with a horse trailer. And, I was pretty good friends with city carton guys down there. In fact, I grew up with a little kid when I was sitting and watched some guy with their little wagons. They became a huge corporation. So we were selling our cardboard to city carton, which is Cedar River paper and how they sold it. There was a guy running around with a horse trailer, opened up the boxes in the middle of the night and loaded the horse trailer full of cardboard and taking it to Iowa City. Figured it out. Called my buddies down there. They said, a horse trailer shows up down there with a load of carton, delay until we get there. And anyways, they ended up going to jail for stealing cardboard. But their defense was, well, it's public material, I should have access to it. It's like, well, you're right, it's public material, you just stole from the public, but you found that out. You know, I did tell the guy, when you go to jail and the guy next cell asks you what you're in for, you might want to come up with a better story. So, you know, I know I would. What are you in for? I stole cardboard. So it's amazing what can possibly happen out there. They probably, it's like corn, it'd be better off if it wasn't $400. Anyways, anything else? Yeah, I'm sorry. You bet.
Oh, I just wondered what happens to the used oil?
It goes back to, it's probably somebody that's burning it for fuel someplace. Yeah, we have a company that picks it up. I don't have the answer to that, I guess. But usually it's, I'm sure, being incinerated for heat someplace, I guess.
So a little 20,000 population of Fayette County can come up with these kinds of figures.
Yeah.
Why isn't that word spreading across the country?
Well, I don't know. You're just not as good as we are, I guess. I don't have the answer to that. I do know there's lots of counties, like you just referred to, that are no longer recycling at all. And I think they're just doing math. It doesn't pay. They're forgetting the part why we did it in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, environmentally, it's the right thing to do, and economically, we're not spending those dollars burying it. So,
Easier just to charge the consumer a little bit more to get
course.
their dumpster dumped at the end of the
Course.
driveway.
of course, the guys have been around long enough. We didn't have the roll-off boxes when we first started. We had these trailers that we had built, Gaylord boxes. I had my staff run around emptying those things, and we were running 24/7. It clearly wasn't going to work. We moved those from town to town to town to town to town, and it was great. We had to switch gears in a hurry on that deal. So, yeah,
I do think that it's our hope that these videos will be utilized beyond Fayette County.
oh, absolutely,
To educate others in Iowa and the nation.
yeah. It would be tickle
Maybe
me.
it will have an effect.
Do you have them out on YouTube?
They
We
are
do.
on YouTube,
Yeah.
on Fayette County Conservation.
And we did get, good attention statewide on it, and,
Yeah.
we were a little careful when we developed them. We didn't want to lose control of it. Plus, I don't know nothing about this stuff, that's your gig, but Northeast Iowa RC&D is a nonprofit out of Postville. We work with them on lots of projects, they're awesome. And this just happened because I've had Mike Milkchick stuck in my brain pan for 20 years. And that's not always a great thing. And hopefully you can't sleep tonight. But anyways, they were able to take song and stuff and then suck it out of this brain and do the animation. So I just happened to say to them, I don't know, about a year ago, it's like, we'd like to do some animation. Funny thing, we have 2 kids here and they'd like to do some animation too, so that was their first
So
project.
it was all done locally here?
Yep,
Nice.
Northeast Iowa RC&D,
Ground up.
So, and that's great.
Yeah.
And, so, it's nice to be noticed.
Yeah,
Would you like to hear one Riley's story?
sure.
About being noticed. We got this word the other day, I said, it's nice to be noticed, so the guy walks into a bar, he sees a gal sitting at the end of the bar. He goes, gosh, I think I'm gonna go over there and see if I can strike up a conversation. And he did, and it was going quite nicely. And they were talking and chatting back and forth, getting their life histories, and all of a sudden, the gal, she just sneezed violently. And she had a fall sign that went flying out of her head. And the guy reached out and he caught it in midair. And then she put her eye back in and got me. Went back to talk a little while longer. She starts to go home. She goes, hey, here's my number. She goes, oh, really? You're giving me your number? Why is that? Well, she says you kind of caught my eye, so.
He promised me he wasn't gonna do it.
This is a fun crowd. We do hope that it gets used, that's right, and if other, you can use it here at the lab. Obviously, we're gonna go into schools with it, we have. I would love nothing better than it be used across the United States, and I think it's good enough. And we just hope that other naturalists will just tell us where they used it, so we know. I just didn't want to see it with a commercial icon, and it's like, oh, I lost control of the situation. So not that I understand any of that stuff, but I do. Okay, we're gonna do Mike the Milk Jug now. I said we should do it as a roll. What do you say? You're the music person.
Yeah, but she was trained at Luther's.
I know.
I think we should just all sing it together.
Do you remember the words?
Well, I would assume you have a slide you can bring up with the words?
I didn't even.
Now, let's just do
He
it
told me he was
as,
doing.
let's do it as a roll. I win.
Oh, we're doing
You
it?
lead it.
What he means is a round.
Roll around. Hey, you don't know that has to be my.
He's got a roll-off box in his mind. Okay, well,
So that's
luckily we've
where
got
she
3
gets her
sections.
talent, huh?
No, she gets her talent from her mother because I still have all mine, so anyway.
So we've got 3 sections here, so we might as well section it off by 3, huh? So if you're this is 1, 2, 3, you're on those tables.
This is what $146,000 in tuition will get you.
We'll do it. Okay, they don't have the
I'll-
words though.
Well, I'll sing it and you repeat it. You don't understand.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay. I'm
We're
gonna
just
sing a
gonna
line.
echo. It's an
You
echo.
want-
We're just echoing.
There you go.
All
Let's do
right,
that.
we'll do it easier.
So I'll just do it.
Sing ours.
2 takers.
I'll help them.
All
All right.
I'm Mike the Milk Jug,
I'm Mike the Milk Jug.
and I could use a big hug.
I can use a big hug.
So please don't throw frightening.
That would be frightening.
Such